Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank the followers of the channel for making our Pia Zadora Butterfly podcast the number one podcast on the channel this month so far. So by popular demand, whether you like it or not, we're going to dive deep yet again into Pia Zadora, what they call pool of inefficiency, what the movie some people call her magnum opus. Now, the Emmy and Golden Globe winner was well known for her, what he called patronage movies to her husband of the era. But we're going to be talking about a Harold Robbins novel version of this movie, The Lonely Lady. Now, it came out in 1983, directed by Peter Sazdy, and is believed to have been based on Robbins' memories of Jacqueline Suzanne. The film stars Zadora in the title role with Lloyd Bachner, Bibi Besch, Jared Martin, and in his first TV role after Time in Another World, Ray Liotta. The original music score was composed by Charlie Calello. The plot follows an aspiring screenwriter who deals with many abusive men in her attempts to achieve success in Hollywood. The Lonely Lady was the last adaptation of one of Robbins' novels before his death in 1997. Critically panned, the film was a box office bomb, grossing only $1.2 million against a budget of between $6 and $7 million. Of course, this came out after Butterfly. Story by Alan Shepard, with screenplay by Kershaw and Sean Randall, produced by Robert Weston, cinematography Brian West, edited by Keith Palmer, music by, again, Charlie Calello, Harold Roberts International Production, distributed by Universal, 92 minutes. Again, a budget of $7 million with a buyback at about 1.2. Now, in this one, Jerry Lee Randall, an innocent high school student, living in the San Fernando Valley, dreams of becoming a famous writer. Shortly after winning a trophy for her creative mind, she meets Walt, the son of famous screenwriter Walter Thornton, at a party. She goes home with him and some of his friends with the promise of meeting his father, whose work she admires. At the Thornton's pool, one of Walt's friends beats her and then sexually assaults her with a garden hose nozzle. Yes. Walter arrives after assault and saves Jerry Lee from future further attacks. A friendship, then a love affair, develops between them, and he soon married, though Jerry Lee Mother disapproves. Jerry Lee publishes her first book, which becomes a bestseller. The marriage begins to crumble, where Jerry Lee rewrites one of Walter's scripts, although she only added the word "why." Despite this, the revised script benefits the actress delivering the line, and she thanks Walter, who takes credit for the rewrite. Separation becomes a certainty when Walter scorns Jerry Lee during an argument and accuses her of enjoying having been assaulted years ago. Now, after leaving Walter, Jerry Lee has several affairs while trying to produce her screenplay. An affair with married actor George Valentine results in pregnancy. Upon realizing he would not support her, she gets an abortion. Jerry Lee then meets with club owner Vincent DaCosta, who offers to connect her with movie agents and ends up working for him as a waitress to make ends meet. Eventually, she has another affair with him this time as well. When meeting the agent Vincent promised would represent her, she realizes that he sent her to have sex with the agent and his female companion. After Jerry Lee confronts Vincent, he trolls her screenplay at her, mocking her while he's on drugs and naked with two other women. Jerry Lee eventually has a mental breakdown in the sequence wherein she sees the faces of callous people of her past appearing on her typewriter keys. Now, after spending time in a sanitarium, Jerry Lee rewrites her screenplay. She connects with director Guy Jackson, who helps get her script produced successfully. However, she expected to have sex once again, this time with the producer's wife. At the prestigious Live Movie Awards telecast, Jerry Lee wins the Best Original Screenplay Award for her film, The Holdouts. On stage, she bluntly criticizes the Hollywood system, in which women have to fuck their way to the top, and admits to her ex-husband Walter that she never learned the meaning of self-respect. Jerry Lee then refuses the award, departing the auditorium with her newfound dignity. Now, a very, very B-level cast in this. Now, Universal Pictures had purchased the film rights for The Lonely Lady in 1975, 1 year before the novel was published, hoping to release the adaptation in 1976. Now, Susan Blakely, a very dynamite actress who has signed a 3-picture pay-or-play contract with Universal, eventually accepted the role of Jerry Lee with the conditional approval of screenplay and director. Despite multiple drafts by Robert Merrill and Dean Reisner, Blakely was never satisfied with the script and eventually opted out of the project. Now, The Lonely Lady eventually entered production when Israeli multimillionaire industrialist Moshe Riklis signed on in 82. Riklis had already funded the 82 film Butterfly as a vehicle for Pia, and he wanted The Lonely Lady to serve the same purpose. Riklis reportedly supplied approximately half of the film's $7 million budget, along with completion costs, but refused any mention in the credits. Robert R. Weston, responsible for the previous Robbins adaptation to Betsy, very, very terrible movie by the way, was the producer. Butterfly director Matt Cimber would write the script before being replaced by Ellen Shepard and the duo Kershaw and Randall. Now, principal photography began on June 14, 1982 at a villa near Rome, where various LA landmarks were constructed, from the exterior of the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion to local supermarkets. Some exterior photography was also planned for LA, and interiors were shot at Twickenham Studios in Middlesex. The Lonely Lady, again, was severely panned by critics and has been showing up on various bad movie books over the years. Roger Ebert opened the review saying that The Lonely Lady had even a shred of style and humor. It could qualify as the worst movie of the year. Unfortunately, it's not that good. Janet Maslin of the New York Times complimented Zadora, saying that she's got spunk while being the tiny centerpiece of a badly acted, slovenly-looking movie that isn't even much fun. On Rotten Tomatoes, it got a perfect score, 0% approval rating, which is pretty well as bad as you can get based on 12 credits. Now, Zadora herself has looked back at the movie not with anger, but with understanding. She said The Lonely Lady was a real turkey done very badly, and she knew it was bad all along. Despite being taken seriously by its director, it became a camp classic, one of those movies that's so bad it's funny. She even attempted to prevent its release. I wanted my husband to buy the whole thing and hide it somewhere. The movie certainly didn't help my credibility problem. Now, Harold Robbins said shortly after the film's release that he had not seen it, criticizing the casting of Zadora, who he claimed seemed like a nice girl, but not the idea of the main character, and concluding that the movie will be a bummer, everyone will lose money, except me. I got $600,000 before it opened. Get cash if you can get it. Robbins' then assistant and future wife, Jane Stapp, wrote it in her book, Harold and Me, that Robbins only saw a rough cut at Universal screening room, telling her afterwards that he slept during the projection, derided Zadora as not an actress, she can't carry the picture, and summed up production as crap. I don't know what they did in Italy, but it turned into shit. The film was nominated for 11 Gold and Raspberry Awards and won 6. Worst Actress, Director, Musical Score, Original Song, The Way You Do It, Worst Picture, and Worst Screenplay. When questioned about the awards, Zadora stated, I would have hated to be nominated and not won. It was also nominated for a Razzie as Worst Picture of the Decade, but lost to that classic Mommy Dearest, and Worst Drama to Razzie's First 25 Years, but lost to Battlefield Earth. Zadora won the Best New Star of the Decade for this film and Butterfly. She was also nominated for Worst Actress of the Century, but lost to Madonna. John J.B. Wilson included the official Razzie Movie Guide as one of the most enjoyable bad movies ever. In his entry, he notes now how being hired for the promotional campaign was one of my all-time favorite assignments as a trailer maker, given he knew it was a potential Gold and Raspberry winner, and even convinced producer Robert R. Weston not to cut the infamous scene where Jerry Lee has a breakdown, hoping to use a clip in Razzie ceremonies. The movie was nominated for Worst Picture at the 83 Stinkers, but lost to Krull. Yes, I've seen both. I think Krull is the worst movie. Shout Factory released the film on Blu-ray on June 13, 2017, and as the rumor is, once you see The Lonely Lady once, you'll never forget it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest on our Pia Zadora podcast. And what's kind of weird, ladies and gentlemen, no, she wasn't a bad singer. She got nominated for a Grammy, and she wasn't a bad Broadway star. She was in different productions. She's part of children's movie history because, Santa Claus Meets the Martians. So Zadora had talent. I would say she was at the level of a CW actress with a very rich husband. But the problem is going from a 1-hour episodic television to the big screen and trying to throw this person down people's throats not going to work. My dad called her a coquettish non-talent. That sums it up. I think she has talent, ladies and gentlemen. That's just me. But, it's all about timing. Somebody like that, she was a herald basically of the 2000, like actresses and actors of the 2000s were himbos or bimbos who had talent, and she was a precursor She was the 1990s before the 1990s, is what I'm saying, from an acting standpoint. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share, or super chat. And don't forget, requests are always accepted and always highly considered. Thanks for listening. Bye.